Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to episode 4 of Just a Millennial. This is Mikey Okendo.
I'm Mike Cherub.
And today we've got some awesome topics. We're going to be talking about Yahoo, how thinking everyone else is like you is ruining your sales process, how successful selling is a long-term game, and why you should hire good people and not great people. Intro.
Now intro. I control this ship. Welcome back from that wonderful intro. Again, as we said before, this is Mikey. I am Mike. We are fresh off. Well, I say fresh. I mean, we just got back a couple days ago from Digital Dealer 20.
Yeah.
It was, right down the road from us in Orlando. So it was a fun experience. Shout out to Dealer On for the swag and the Let's Get It On shirt. Love
Is that
it.
what that is?
It is. It is Dealer On.
I didn't get one.
And shout out if she's watching. She is the queen of webinars. I remember you. I saw you every time. You hooked me up with my shirt.
That's pretty awesome.
We're good.
I mean, you got to be good with somebody who hooks you up with that shirt.
Oh yeah, I got to give him a shout out. But anyway, as Mikey said, today we have a lot of interesting topics. I'm going to take a sip of my Starbucks and let Mikey run with it.
Well, actually, it's funny. This is completely off topic, but I actually went to, it was my birthday over Digital Dealer, which is funny. I turned 24 at Digital Dealer, which was, great way to celebrate. I was at a conference, and it was really fun. Honestly, it was a great conference. If you weren't there, you should watch Auto Dealer Live, because this guy got tons of great footage of it. But it's funny.
I got a little sleep, too. That generally happens at conferences, but, I'm used to it.
I don't think any of us got good sleep. Like, even Dave, just all of us were really tired.
I remember we got back, and Dave was... And Dave's normally not the person, Dave's normally there, after everybody. Dave was it was 4 o'clock, and he was like, I'm heading home.
He never does that.
And he never does it.
No.
It was pretty great.
And actually, as soon as we got back, we came back, was it that Thursday? Mm-hmm. So then came here, back home, went to work Friday, half the day, left because it was my birthday. My wife had a ton of stuff planned for the weekend, so I was excited, went up to Orlando again, literally went right back 2 minutes away from where we were. And then I got to go to Universal Studios, Disney. It was pretty fun.
Did you go to Harry Potter World?
Yeah, that's why I had that wizard hat on the table. I got a wizard hat. I got Dumbledore's wand. I'm a fan of Harry Potter. Everyone should be.
If you're not, contact us, because we could probably sit down and, sit you on our wonderful couch here and maybe have a session with you.
It's true. It was fun.
That's enough of the catch up.
We digress. That's what we did. That's what we did this week. It was fun. So you get to know us a little more.
It was definitely a lot of fun. I will say this so that we can move on. It's always fun hanging out with people we deal with on the show, talk to over the phone, Yes. Probably two of the biggest people I hung out with was Matt Koenig, because he was our next door neighbor at our booth. Yeah, and Subi Ghosh, her show's on Thursdays right before Auto Dealer Live.
Watch it.
Tune into that.
That's right.
It's always great to hang out with people, and there was plenty of others. If I forgot you, don't heckle me on Twitter. Trust me, I know you. We hung out. We're good.
We remember you. But so, hopefully you guys had a good time. If you weren't at the conference, you should attend next time. We'll be there. We'll see you. But for today's show, let's get into it. So we're going to be talking about, well, first off, the whole thing that kicked this off was an article that Mike found online. And the first thing that I mentioned in the intro about Yahoo, you're like, why are we talking about Yahoo? Nobody cares about Yahoo.
Nobody talks about Yahoo ever.
It's freaking Google. Are you going to talk about Bing afterwards? Yeah.
No.
Okay, there's a reason for it though. So the article was really interesting.
So my wife actually ran across the article and sent it to me, and it was funny because it was Sunday afternoon and we're sitting there and we're both watching TV, and she just randomly tells me, I sent you an article, and I'm like, what? She never sends me anything like that. So She sent it to me, and the title of the article is interesting. It's Why I Just Bought a Used Car Online and Why You Should Too.
And it's written by...
it is actually, he is the editor-in-chief of Yahoo Tech. His name is Dan Tynan. We'll go with Tynan. If I'm
Hopefully we're not butchering that.
If I'm wrong, Dan, you can actually call me or hit me up on social media. Let me know that I did something wrong. But it'd be probably cooler to know that you watched the show. So
yeah, that'd be really cool.
But I won't go into the great amount of details. If you go on to Yahoo and search Why I Bought a Used Car Online and Why You Should, you can find it. It was a really interesting read because he really kind of broke down each step of the process for buying a car. And
he's bought, what, 9 cars, he said?
Yeah, he's bought 9 cars over his lifetime, from kickers to brand new ones, from everything, front to back. So he's not a novice. It's not like it's his first car purchase. He's bought many cars. And the reason he ended up buying online was because he dreaded going to the dealership so much. And I mean, ultimately, the very end of the article, he said, as I'm pulling it up, I'm doing my scrolls now.
And this guy's not a millennial. Like, this is an experienced businessman, so we're not bringing you another sob story about some millennial who doesn't know how to negotiate and came to your lot and left like tears, like, oh God, I just want to crawl up in the fetal position. No. This is a reputable businessman. So let's hear what he has to say.
It says, after I clicked the buy button, a flatbed truck showed up at my house with the Elantra on the back. The driver, a courteous young man named Robert, showed up with a parcel of documents. This is the part he said he didn't like and he did say there were parts of this process he didn't like, which is why I recommend you read it.
Yes.
He said, I still had to sign my name 172 times, but there was no after-sale pressure, no arm twisting to buy additional service plans or undercoating. I didn't feel the need to curl up and take a nap afterwards. I wanted to climb behind the wheel and hit the accelerator because for the first time in my life, I just bought a car without driving it first, and it felt great.
And please don't turn off not the channel, it's not a channel, but don't X off of this because you think these guys just freaking started the show and they're already talking about some online buying process.
Oh yeah.
From Vroom or BP was, I think it was BP.
It was actually, he was watching Carvana was not in his market.
Yeah. So he bought it. I remember.
So he ended up getting it, I believe, from BP, but he wanted to get it from Vroom because he said Vroom had a cooler name. BP, he said, was like a weird name.
Vroom is a lot better. BP's...
BP just doesn't sound like, BP literally sounds like the people who sell the BB-8 droids for Star Wars.
Yeah, that's kind of anticlimactic.
A little bit.
Vroom is like, oh yeah, cool.
Yeah, you just vroom and you're good to go. But he's right. We're not sitting here jumping all over you guys to say sell everything online. We get it.
Just an interesting point. We're trying to get to it.
What was more interesting was actually the fact that he enjoyed the process of buying online, and that made me start to think, what is it, why is it customers dread coming to the dealership so much? For millennials, we sit there and we don't want to waste our time at a dealership, and that's truthfully about a lot of people. You don't want to spend hours at a dealership, and we get it. Buying a car is almost, similar to buying a house. It's a huge purchase. Yeah. There's a lot of different things that go into it, and we get it. But I think one of the main points that we really want to talk about is, how can you make your sales process fit your customers better? We get it. There's certain things you have to do. There's certain things that you don't necessarily have to do. I reference back to our first episode and something I reference a lot. Yeah. I never even needed to take a test drive of my car. I literally did it to waiting on my dad to get to the dealership, and I just didn't want to smoke another cigarette outside. It was like, okay, sure, let's take it for a ride.
And even if you say, as a dealer watching this, or someone watching this, well, yeah, sure, but that's the minority, whatever. I mean, that's not that big of a deal. It's a small customer percentage. Well, here's the thing. It's freaking market share. The point of this isn't for you to like he said, make your whole sales process online. The point of this is there is market share out there available for you to grab. And all you have to do is either adjust your process or add something to it like that, or literally anything that we're going to be talking about. And if you do that, you can just grab more share. We're not saying you aren't doing a good job, but anyone can do better.
I think a really good example of this, or a really good comparison that I've made in the past, is how many of your customers that you have that show up on your lot, for those of you that still do direct mail, are actually from direct mail. How many of your sales a month? There's probably a percentage of it. And if you have a really good company, probably your percentage is anywhere between 5 to 10%. It doesn't seem like a lot of your total sales. Mm-hmm. But what if you gained another 5 to 10% because you were able to buy online, or because your process was a little less stringent?
Sure.
I'm not necessarily advocating that everybody needs to go into online buying because it's not for everybody. I don't necessarily like shopping online for some of my stuff. Some of my stuff I do. Some stuff with Amazon, I know exactly what I need to get, and I go in and I get it. But
some stuff.
Yeah.
Have you had any Amazon nightmares?
Oh God, no, I haven't. I can't say I've had an Amazon nightmare yet.
That's good.
Thankfully. Although I'm waiting on the drone to take over, and then I think all the nightmares are really going to soar.
Yeah, but that's funny. Actually, you should tweet at us your Amazon nightmares if you have any. This would tie in pretty well. I mean, it has nothing to do with cars, but it would just be like funny to get your stories. Yeah, we would actually
love to hear them. Tweet us at JAM_ATN. Tweet us your nightmares, and if you can't fit it on Twitter, there's an app called like Twitlonger or something along those lines.
Something like that.
I see people from League of Legends use it all the time. It's basically it goes out to Twitter, but you can still write your full blown story. Check it out. But anyway, so why not expand your sales? Maybe it takes you 5 to 6 months to establish how you're going to be able to market everything, or you find another company, or you do it all in house. Whatever way you want to take it, it's going to take some time to build the process. We understand that. Mm-hmm. But what if it's no different than buying a direct mail campaign, than maybe getting 10 customers that come in off your TV ads. What if that drives you another 5 sales a month? If you look at it in a long-term perspective, I don't know what your typical copy is on your cars, but let's just say, you're averaging anywhere between $750 to $1,000 per car, and I'm sure I'm lowballing this.
Sure.
But let's just say you bring in an additional 5 cars, that's close to $5,000 that you're making an extra a month, and then you take into account how much did you actually spend in the overall grand scheme of things. Buying online is met with such opposite. It's like there's no middle ground right now in this.
Right,
in this
you love
debacle.
It or hate it.
There is literally the dealers. A lot of dealers absolutely hate it, and I say this in the very nicest way because I don't mean it in a bad term. But vendors love it.
Sure, because they can make money off of it.
Because absolutely, and we understand why vendors love it. But we're not making money on this.
No,
we don't work for any of these companies. We're literally saying, if I could buy my car online right now, if I was going to go trade my car in and I could do all of it online, I would. Granted, I get it. There's parts of the sales process that has been ingrained that it is an emotional decision. We understand that. We get that emotion's involved, especially when somebody actually sits behind the car. And as they're driving the car, you can point the features out to them. But for some people like us, not even just us, my dad for that matter, if he could buy a car online, he would. Some things like that, they know what they want. They just know what they want and they want to get it,
And that's fine.
What's gonna, I know one of the biggest things with these, online is they're offering, I think it's 7 or 14 days.
Yeah, well, it's between 7 and 10 days for you to just completely give the car back if you don't like it.
Absolutely. And I mean, unless they just total the car, in which case I'm sure it's written into the fine print that,
right.
It comes back in any less condition than it started in.
But if you just don't like it.
Yeah, if you just don't like it and you take it back, I mean, where's the harm in it? Especially because we're talking about the used car market.
Which is what this is.
New cars online, we're not even jumping in that market. That's a whole other monster. If you thought online car buying was bad, try telling people to buy new cars online. All the dealers will literally come at you with pitchforks.
Yeah, but the biggest thing for all of this is, whether you're talking about buying cars online, whether you're talking about doing part of the process online, if you're talking about one of the panels we had for Auto Dealer Live at Digital Dealer, whether you're talking about adjusting your F&I process, making it a hybrid process where it's partially online, partially in store, whatever it is you're talking about doing, implementing and adjusting into your overarching sales process that your customer has to go through and that your salespeople have to go through and your management, everyone. At the end of the day, all of this is really our main point is that for owners, for managers, for people who are putting these processes into place, thinking everyone else is like you is going to ruin your sales process. That was really our biggest point. And what do we mean by that? Well, really, it's pretty simple. How many times have you guys been in a meeting, a little powwow, everybody's standing around doing your weekly thing, and somebody brings up a point, you get your internet manager, he brings up something, maybe he talked to somebody and got some interesting insight into a way that their process could be adjusted at the dealership and brings up the point, or maybe it's not in a meeting, maybe it's in a one-on-one, whatever, wherever it happens. So somebody brings up something, hey, what if we implemented this in our process? Or, hey, I had a customer, a couple of people actually mentioned this. What do you think about doing that? And you hear the retort from either a manager or an owner or someone in leadership, and they say something along the lines of, I don't think anyone wants to do that. Or, no, see, I hear you. I appreciate you bringing up that point, but I really don't think that there's a market for that. But like they say that, and they just say it immediately, right? Like I can't snap my fingers, so I just kind of did the motion. But they say it like real quick, and so you know that they're not basing it on any sort of data, more than likely, not all the time, but more than likely, they're not basing it off of an article or some sort of a data or a study or maybe even anything written at all, like it's not like recent dealership statistics or anything like that. It's just what they think, and it's very simple. It's called false consensus bias, and it's basically when you think that everyone else is like you, which is a really boring term, I know, but that's really important. Like, how many times have you been in a meeting with somebody and they always say something like that back to you? They say something like, I don't think that people want to do that. Like, says who? Says you? Just you? Like, you're the only one? So the point is, if you're a manager, if you're a leader, and you have people coming to you bringing ideas, one, listen to them, and two, actually consider and give thought to the fact that maybe you're wrong, or maybe you just don't have it all figured out, and maybe you shouldn't immediately respond with just, well, nah, I'm the most experienced guy in the room, I've got it figured out, and no, people don't want to do that. Just all we're saying is just consider it. Be open to new ideas and evolutions to your sales process.
I mean, if you really think about it, at some point in time, probably 30 years ago, somebody thought it was a really dumb idea to call your customer over the phone.
Yeah.
50 years ago, they thought it was really dumb to make an advertisement that was on TV.
Heck, 20 years ago, some people still thought it was stupid to have a website.
10 years ago, it was really dumb to create, digital advertisements that were able to be placed in YouTube or any other platform for that matter.
Yep. Retargeting was stupid at one point.
Point is, not every idea that somebody might come to you with, like if somebody just comes out of the box and says, instead of posting pictures of our cars, we should have kids color them with colored pencils and make that our picture on the website. That's generally an idea that you're like, okay, no, let's here, take your coloring book back to your desk.
Let's filter that and put that. Let's put that on the fridge.
You know what? Let's
put that on the fridge.
It's like Ringo Starr's songwriting.
Yes,
the Beatles always put on the fridge. I can't stop thinking about that. All I think about is the Family Guy episode where they're like talking about Ringo Starr's songwriting. He's like, "God, I wrote a song," and he's like, "Oh, let's put that right here, right on the fridge, so we can always see it." And they're in the middle of a recording studio. Why is there a fridge in your recording studio?
But you know what? They listened to him, and they at least took the idea and they put it on the fridge. And I don't know what that is at your dealership, the proverbial fridge, or maybe it's literally the fridge. That could be insulting, though.
A little bit,
but at least you listen to him, like, right, instead of just shutting them down right away.
Yeah, I think that's I think that's honestly going to be the biggest point to take away is actually take the time to listen. No, don't just shut it down immediately. If you're like, our advertising budget is for the month. Take some time to do some research. I'm sitting there throwing all these examples out. 10 years ago, it was really dumb to send a bunch of emails out to customers.
Yeah.
And now it's like, if you don't do that, you feel like you're never going to be able to capture those people.
Yep.
There's all these different things that at one point in time, somebody came up with the idea, realized that they were ahead of the time, and somebody did what we're asking you to do. They kind of, not necessarily took a leap of faith, but they kind of took a leap of faith.
Yeah.
And it worked. Not every great idea that you try out is going to work, but if you're dealing with a business, you're not, every decision you ever going to make is not always going to be a winner. There's an old saying, and it's really common in church, but I use it all the time when I'm talking to, I've mentored a few drummers, and I talk to them all the time, and I tell them, I said, if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got. Mm-hmm. If you continue doing the same process, Dave says it with our sales guys all the time. If you get to your comfort zone and you never step out of the box, you're still going to be making money. Your dealership's probably still going to make money and things like that. But don't you want to eventually take it on to the next step? I know Rick Reichert, who's the number one CPO dealer in America, is still pushing his guys. He's pushing over 800 used cars a month, and he's pushing his guys for 900.
And he himself is trying new things all the time.
And he's got the number one spot. He's literally he's up there. There's nobody coming up after him. There's nobody pulling on his coattails. Like, he is king of this castle.
Yep.
Yet he's trying to conquer more territory.
Yeah. That's
sometimes
important.
you have to break out of that box. Sometimes you really do, and it sucks because. Mm-hmm. Too many times we're stuck in this old mentality of, well, no. Just no.
Yeah. And some of your dealerships, I mean, a lot of your dealerships, especially depending on where you're located, a lot of you guys have really, really prime locations and nice, high populated, maybe, decent income, decent credit score kind of areas. And a lot of you, like literally, if you didn't, like Mike was talking about, when you're talking about drive and marketing ideas and what you can do to step your dealership up to the next level, it's so important to do those things because at the end of the day, if you have a prime location, you could literally probably not put another ad on TV, nothing in the radio, newspaper, direct mail, digital. And you would still sell probably at least enough cars to be in business. Like, I'm not saying you're going to do well, and you definitely not going to do nearly as good as you are now. But you'd probably still sell some cars. So the point is more is more. Like, everyone should always want more. And obviously, we know that if you're watching this, and if you're watching the network, and you're consuming this sort of content, you do want more. So there's no doubt about that. But at the end of the day, really be self-aware. Think about how you think and how that affects your sales process, and really take time to consider that the other side is not dumb. Like, the other side being literally anyone who disagrees with you, because everyone has their own ingrained ideas and ideologies and mentalities and whatever beliefs that are the core of them. And really, if you're a business leader, you have to have those, so that's great. But you can't get in this sort of rut where you start thinking that the other side is dumb, and every time anyone who has some sort of a differing opinion from you is dumb, because actually that directly affects your sales process, because a part of your sales process, as Dave Villa and lots of sales experts talk about, is the ability to empathize with your customer, to be able to relate to them in a way that they feel you understand them, and you know how to make them feel comfortable, that sort of thing. And at the end of the day, if you always feel that the other side is dumb and you immediately react that way, then how can you say that you're empathetic? Like, at all, is what I'm trying to say. If that's the kind of person you are, if you're immediately shooting back at things that you disagree with like that, then you are in fact not empathetic, and that will affect your sales directly. Like, your actual sales, even if you're a salesperson to people, because that means you're not empathizing very well. You don't have the right mentality, and that's going to really affect your process.
Absolutely.
So, it's just one of those things. Take some time. I mean, self-awareness is huge. And, I get that term from Gary Vaynerchuk because that's the guy I like. He's got some great content. You should check him out.
He's horrible.
He's pretty cool. Horrible. He touts self-awareness like nobody's business, because if you're a business owner or an individual working at a business, which is 100% of our viewership, I would imagine, somebody's either working at a business or managing.
There's one person out there that's like the dude from South Park, the World of Warcraft guy. There's one guy out there I feel like is watching.
You know who it is? It's the guy who won the lottery.
Yeah, that. Wasn't there like 3 winning tickets that were sold on that?
Yeah, there were. I think one was actually in Florida here.
I laughed. I saw a meme on Reddit. It was like 2 days ago, this guy won the Powerball. Today he met the love of his life, and it's like this just ugly dude, and he's got this like supermodel standing next to him, and he's like, "This is the luckiest guy ever. He fell in love, and he won the lottery."
Look at there, man. This guy's got it all.
So my watch is going off, telling me that it's time to begin the wrap up. So I think, seriously, this time flies by. Yeah, I think the 2 big things to take away today. Number one, be self-aware. That definitely, Mikey probably said self-aware like 20 times.
Yeah.
I think. I lost count.
Hopefully you will have that ingrained in your head like I chiseled it. We both chiseled it into your brain, and that's all you can say for the next like 10 minutes is that. And it's not my idea. We like to share it.
And I think the second thing is, we talked about this in our very first episode, and it's something that I'm sure we'll talk about is the road to the sale is not a road. Stop.
Not a straight line road.
They say fear of a name. It's like people always called Voldemort he who must not be named for so many years in Harry Potter, and then people started calling Voldemort again, but everybody was afraid to change back. The road to the sale is not just a road anymore. I mean, let's be honest. It's an interstate, and there's a bunch of exit ramps and on ramps. There's a bunch of pickups. There's a bunch of stop offs. There's everything. It's an interstate. It's a highway. It's not a road. There's multiple ways that people can buy a car, and there's multiple places that people are going to pick up the process. Mm-hmm. Don't make it so that your people are taking them back to the beginning of the highway to take the trip that they've already taken, and then they're going to be turned off by the fact that they already saw that landmark, and they already knew that was there. Those are probably the two biggest things. Any last thoughts?
I would tie in with your Harry Potter metaphor, and I would say be more like Harry Potter, because I don't know if you didn't watch Harry Potter, just forget this because it's going to be spoiler. But okay, if you did, and that should be all of you. If you remember, like the very first movie, he's a little kid, and like Hagrid comes to get him. And there's this whole thing where he's being exposed to the world of magic and everything. So he starts meeting people, and like he learns the name Voldemort, he who must not be named, like the sacred cow term, whatever you're not supposed to bring up. And he says it, like once he hears the name, he just says it, like it's just whatever. He's like, oh, Voldemort? Yeah, Voldemort. And then Hagrid and like everybody, they're like, shh, no, you can't say that. You should be like freaking Harry, because he just said it, man. He didn't care. He wasn't afraid of it. He was just like, whatever, man. It's not something we can't talk about. We're just gonna be bold about it. We're just gonna get right into it. And you should be the same with your sales process. Like, it is an interstate, and it doesn't have to be a straight line road. It doesn't have to be something that you have to start exactly the same place every single time. And you should be very bold about that, and just not be afraid to talk about it, and be very, very, forward about how you feel, and be very passionate about it, because it's a big deal.
Absolutely. Well, folks, as you can probably see on your screen right now, our social media handle is popping up on the screen. Follow us: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, all those wonderful things. Hit us up. We definitely want to hear from you. We want to hear your Amazon horror stories. There might be something in it for somebody coming up if we get the best Amazon horror story.
This is true.
But hit us up. Shoot us an email, jam@autotainmentnetwork.com. You can email us. It goes directly to us. We check our emails all day long. It actually drives me nuts to have notifications on my phone, so I generally read them immediately. But
I hate that too.
Oh, yeah. On that note, I'm Mike Chirp.
And this is Mikey Oquendo.
And this was just another episode 4.
Till next time.
Bye. My Starbucks drink this week, because I always have one whenever we shoot.
That's true.
So like this week's drink is a Venti Flat White with coconut milk, 2 vanilla bean scoops of powder, and dark chocolate curls.
That would be really funny.
It was actually quite delicious. It was almost like a hot chocolate with a touch of vanilla, but it had espresso in it, and it was coconut milk, so like the calories weren't there from the milk, so it was pretty good.
That'd be funny. You should do that every week. That's like a cool, like branded thing that you could. That's like that thing.
Well,
that you do.
I just did it. So say bye.
Oh.